Thank you so much, Morgana Marie, for being here with me today. I am excited to get into your story, how you got to where you have today. I know it wasn't always so easy. So you want to take us back to your first point and where you'd say like, okay, my entrepreneurial journey started here. Now, I don't know if that's like when you were 5 and like that's when you sold something or that happened like the day that you opened up your business.
Thank you for that. Yeah. I will take you back to 14 years ago, which is when I graduated from college and I knew I wanted to do coaching, healing, energy work. How I was going to do that, I had no idea how I was going to do a business. We didn't get business coaching at a college course. So you're kind of like, yeah, I've got all these like amazing skills and I'm like high vibing. And then you're like, but how do I run a business? What? I just kind of was thrown into the deep end, or I threw myself into the deep end, and I learned the hard way. I'd say I learned the hard way. And it was the grinding way until more recent. But yeah, that's where it all started.
So when you say that you got the skills, you mean like the coaching skills, the reading skills? Do you want to elaborate on that a little
Yeah,
bit?
sure. I went to college and trained in holistic therapy and coaching, Reiki, energy work. And so those were the skills I needed to actually set up my business in terms of what I was doing as a career. And I actually didn't have the intention of going to college to do that for a career. It was to actually heal myself, to help myself cope with life and actually live my life. But I didn't know I was going to
What
do a
did you have
business.
to cope with?
Anxiety, PTSD, not wanting to be here, just kind of feeling like, who am I in this world? Just feeling struggle. And so many times I wanted to just not be on the planet because I felt so different and strange. And I wanted to leave. And I was on antidepressants for many, many years, which pretty much numbed me out. And I knew there was more to life, and I wanted to get better and heal, but I didn't know the way. But this course guided me into my own healing. So I actually went to do the course for my own healing because I wanted to come off antidepressants and get happier. But yeah, I didn't know I was going to do a business
Oh,
out of
wow.
that.
Okay. I have so many questions for you. First of
Sure.
all, if you've been on antidepressants for so long, not ever, most people like who've been on antidepressants just like think that they're going to stay there forever. What gave you the desire to be like, actually, I could get off this and figure out a better life?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I knew it was a lie. For me, I knew it was a lie. When I was kind of guided to take these tablets, part of me knew it was a lie. And I knew there was more to life. And this was part of my awareness of actually, okay, what else is actually possible here? Do I really need to take tablets? Or is there something else that I'm not acknowledging? So part of me coming off tablets and realizing that I was really not in it, not in the most empowered place in that time, or aware place at that time, enabled me to be more self-aware. And so therefore I was actually got onto that course and that healing course to learn about why I was feeling depressed and what other methods and alternative therapies were out there to help me really get back to me, because that's what I was wanting to really do, was get back to who I was. And I now know that depression is repression. We're repressed, we're depressed. And
Oh,
that was my awareness from that. So yeah.
oh, I love that. The awareness, the self-awareness, everything
Yes.
starts with that, right? I'm
Yes.
curious, one more question before we like get into like the actual business
Sure.
part, just to really understand you. What made you decide to actually learn about this instead of just like going to a Reiki therapist or some like going to some holistic coach or something to help you versus like, no, need to understand why. Like I need to understand this whole thing behind it.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it was like one day the light bulb went on and it was like, you've got to go and learn this. And I don't know if it was my voice or voices or something that was kind of speaking to me from above. I honestly don't know. But I knew I needed to go and learn this. And part of me was realized that I needed to go and learn this because I just could have gone to go and get a reflexology session and probably would have got better that way, right? And that could have been one way, but the choice that I made and my soul wanted me to make was no, you need to go and learn this because there's other people out there in years to come that are struggling that you can help, and this is your purpose. So, and now I know that, but at the time I didn't. But it was this inner driving, this inner driver that was within me that was, you need to go and learn this. Yeah,
Good
this
thing
is,
you did learn it.
yeah, I know, I know, I
Right?
know.
Yeah, now I think that your situation of having a skill that you want to bring to this world, is offering that you know so many people can help, is something that is very common with people, right? They learn, they get trained, they have some sort of life experience, they want to share with other people, but they don't have the business side to it, right? There's like the actual skill, the craft, and then there's the business. So
Yeah.
talk us through, what was like one of your earliest moments where you're like, oh no, I need help. Like I can do this, but I need help.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh, I struggled for a good sort of 9 years running my business alone because I was so stubborn. I was like, no, I've got this. I've got it all. I'm strong. I can do this. I was masking. I was just kind of like really driving myself into, no, if other people can do it, I can do it. This kind of having to do everything by myself. And it was only one day when I realized that I had a breakdown. I basically had a mental breakdown at the time, burnt out horrendously, and yeah, lost lots of money in my business. I was like, something needs to change because I cannot continue like this. Because A, I'm putting my health at risk, and two, I'm putting the business at risk, which is actually needing to get out there to help people. How can I continue if I keep, if this keeps happening? So, but then I did have multiple burnouts, and multiple times when this happened. This just wasn't the one occasion. I'll be really honest. So it was these multiple occasions that I had to go through to learn my lessons that actually got me to go and ask for help and actually go and understand myself more. Why was I feeling so like everything was so difficult and hard? Why wasn't it easy when it should be, right?
I
So yeah.
appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. So many people are like, okay, so like then I just figured it out, right? But
Yeah.
you've actually like learned about yourself and learned about what to do. So do you want to share with us one or two of those lessons that you learned about yourself? Like why was it being so hard for you? And what did you
Yes.
do to make it easier?
Yeah, thank you. So it was hard to get my message out there to speak to people. Because I was great at once I started speaking to people, but actually trying to communicate with people was incredibly challenging. How are you supposed to run a business if you can't communicate with people? It's a huge barrier. You need to be able to get people to understand you and you can be on their level so they get where you're at. And I was all over the place. Like I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a bit of marketing here, or maybe I'll do a bit of this, and then I'll do a bit of that, and then I'll do a bit of this. And everything was just so defragmented. And that was when I realized I really actually do need some help. Maybe I need to just take a moment to understand where I want to go with things. I didn't have a business plan, or I didn't have like even a vision or a goal, anything back then. And it was all through that learning of not having any of those things in place or a structure in place that actually got me to actually go and get some help, go and get a coach, go and reach out to another healer, help me to, release my blocks or work on my own blocks that I'm struggling with, and maybe learn about social media. How can I learn about social media to make it easier for me rather than trying to figure it all out and spend hours trying to figure it out by myself? So I had to be willing to actually ask the question, actually be willing to be vulnerable, to go and ask for help and notice, okay, hang on, it's not something wrong with me. Maybe I just need to actually be willing to receive some help here. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me, it just means I need to go and get some help because those are not my strengths.
So essentially was, instead of like trying to pretend that you could just all do it by yourself, it was like being aware of like, okay, who can I ask to help me? Who's here that will help me be able to move forward?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, super important, right? A lot of business is who, not how, right? Like who's going to be there
Yes.
that could help us and support us. What would
Yes.
you say was a later challenge? Maybe something that happened in the past year or so, but when your business was already in a healthier place, things are growing, things are going good, you're feeling good inside, you're able to work together with your brain and your situation. What was another challenge that you've come across, and what did you learn about yourself?
Thank you so much. This is one that I speak to recently. I recently did an article about it, and I would say manipulation. because manipulation, I actually had a business coach once that kind of manipulated me into signing up to one of these 10 times programs, that we were just speaking about. Do this in 10 days or whatever. And I was like, yeah, it sounds great. And like, this is the most manipulative phone call I had with this person. But at the time, I wasn't really aware of it, that it was manipulation. But there was part of it that knew it wasn't right. And I got off that call and I was like, something isn't right about this. Hang on a second. What have I just agreed to? And then I had to take a moment and then just realize I've just been like manipulated into buying this program that actually doesn't align with my values or my soul. And I've just put like 2K down straight away. I don't even know this person. We just had one call, but I didn't get time to think about it or anything like that, or that it was just such an impulsive thing. And I learned then that, okay, yeah, I'm really impulsive. Right. Okay, now I need to actually be willing to be aware of what that conversation is going to create for me before I even get on a call with anyone next time. It was that awareness moment again. Oh, okay, I've been manipulated. Okay, well, how can I avoid that from happening again? Ah, right, I need to be willing to actually ask the question here. What is this person's hidden agenda? What they want from this? What am I learning here? And then once I was aware of that, I actually pat myself on the back and I actually got my money back, and I was learning boundaries as well. I was like, oh wow, but I actually got my money back. And it wasn't about getting the money back. It was about, I want my energy back. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The power back, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And what did you learn from that, like moving forward? What was your like takeaway? Like, how are you going to make sure this doesn't happen again in the future?
Yeah, thank you. Having discernment. I had to learn discernment. So I had to be willing to be aware of all the conversations I have in the future. What is it? What's in it for me? How can I contribute to them? Are they question, is this going to create greater for me? Is this in alignment with my values? Just taking a moment to actually just be willing to just pause and not be impulsive. And it stopped me from like spending thousands and thousands of pounds on like shiny objects, but not judge myself for the shiny object, because I love shiny things. But learn and be willing to say no. It's actually okay to say no.
Yeah. No is a complete sentence. No
Yeah,
excuses. You don't need to give any reasons. Just no,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. And I love that, like, just like taking the time to stop and think and see, like, what is really for you. And then you can invest in things that are aligned with you. And even if it's more expensive and even if it's like stretching you even more, but this is for you solving the
Yes,
problems that you need right now and is aligned with your
yes,
business and your values. And oh, I
yes.
love that so much. I love that so much. What is one thing you're currently working on right now? And you're like, I'm not perfect at this yet. I could still use some help.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Public speaking. I'm trying to spread my message because I work with neurodiverse, the neurodiverse people of the world, because they're the best. I'm just very biased. No.
Me too.
They're the best. And I don't know everything about anyone. How am I expected to know everything about anyone? And so my perfectionist wound comes up and going, oh my God, but I need to understand everything about them for them to like work with me and for me to then coach them. And so all of this stuff's coming up that I'm having to kind of work on, but also around speaking. So I'm doing speaking work at the moment. I've just joined like a public speaking academy to get my message out there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how do I even speak in front of an audience of people who are maybe neurodivergent, they don't know the neurodivergent? And actually, I'm thinking, oh, they might judge me. They might, who's she to speak about what she's speaking about? Like, who does she know? Like, how do all these beliefs, all these energies that I'm aware of. And I'm just being like, okay, hang on a second. I know what I know. I know what I know. I've learned a lot on my journey. No, I'm not perfect, and no, I'm not where exactly everyone else is at, but I can certainly share a message that is going to speak to the majority of people. So it's having to kind of actually coach myself and be like, hang on a second, stop.
100%. You have so much in you. And like, even just speaking to you in this short amount of time, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many questions I have. There's so much deeper, so many lessons I want to learn from you. I love this. I love this so much. I am going to ask you another question.
Yeah.
What's something that you're really, really good at? Like, you're like, okay, this used to be a challenge, but like I've worked on it and like I'm really good at it now.
Yeah. Um, what am I great at? Connection with people. Yeah. I used to have no connection with anyone at all. I'd be very like introverted and want to be by myself, but now I like love people and I want to be with them and support them, and I love having the people that I want in my life. Not everyone, I don't want everyone in my life, but you know, there's some people that I want in my life because they're incredible, and I contribute to them and they contribute to me, and connection is just, I really value that. It's amazing.
I even like I said here, like even just here, like I feel it. And obviously this is just a short one, but like I could see how good you are with building those connections, even if it wasn't always so easy for you. Like I'm sure you have
Yeah.
some really nice, deep relationships with some
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Now,
Now,
before we get to our final question, where can people connect with you and learn more about you?
thank you. So I'm on my website, which is www.morganamarie.com, and then I'll have a YouTube channel as well. And then there's also a LinkedIn page. But yeah, feel free to reach out on any of those channels and come support my YouTube channel. I'm creating more content at the moment, all about shifting labels and coming out of these labels so we can really unleash our zones of genius. So yeah, come and support the mission
I
that I'm on.
love that. Okay. I
Yeah.
think, I don't know, I'm making an assumption, but I feel like you're sounding like me of using like the labels in a marketing and then like getting rid of them once they come work with you.
Yes.
High five.
High fives.
Exactly, right? That's the way we're
Yeah.
okay. Final question. Okay, and I'm excited to hear your answer because I feel like it's going to be a good one. What is something controversial that you believe in?
Controversial. For taking off the masks. Yeah, let's take off the masks and stop, pretending to be what we're not, and stop trying to mimic ourselves into being like everyone else when we're not. It's controversial, but we need to own who we are. And it's taken me a long time to kind of own who I am. And even today, I've been really aware. Hang on, what masks am I wearing that I can start to kind of strip back and take off? And like, yeah, and be willing to be vulnerable. Like everyone says on vulnerability, you can't show your vulnerability and you can't do that, as a coach, as a business coach, or no, be willing to be vulnerable, be willing to take your mask off, relate to your client wherever they're at. They're just like yourself. You're no better than them. You're just where they're at. They're just like you, but in their own unique, magical way. So that is pretty kind of controversial for people, I would say, because a lot of people think they have to be something they're not. And no, they don't. Even in business, you don't have to be. You can be
Yeah.
who you want to be.
The more you stand in yourself, then the more you attract the people that want you and repel the other people that don't, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. I absolutely love this conversation. I appreciate your
Thank
vulnerability
you.
and just being able to connect with you and speak to you during this time. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for your time as well. It was amazing. Thank you.